Hi everybody, how's it going today? Thanks for watching another video. I'm in the second to last field of silage here. Want to show you guys something here. We tried a couple different corn varieties this year. These are BMR varieties, BMR brown mid-rib. Essentially what they are is they're higher digestible. The plant is higher digestible compared to a conventional corn variety. But the trade-off is typically the BMR varieties can't handle drought stress as well. They can't handle disease as well. They don't always perform the best when you're in a corn-on-corn situation. But there was a couple varieties that I wanted to try. There's one newer one, and wanted to show you guys that quickly here. They actually look not too bad in the field. We did get frost yesterday morning, so you can tell by the leaves that it did kill the plant. So we want to get the silage wrapped up here as quickly as possible, and should be able to do that here tomorrow, I think. There's two varieties here side by side, and you can kind of tell pretty easily where the split is. I'm kind of right where the split is right now. If you look to my right, that's a little bit lower. That's a Pioneer. I think that was a 98 something. And then to my left is a Kingfisher, and I can't think of the numbers off the top of my head. If I remember, I'll put them in the description. But thought I'd show you guys this quickly. Cobs look not too bad on both of these. The Kingfisher variety, the one that I just opened up there, is a little bit later maturing, so the kernels are not, there's still a little moisture in the kernels. I've tested 29% dry matter, and this is the Pioneer here. The cobs on this one don't look terrible either. Typically BMR is also lower yielding. I'm not gonna have him weigh an individual truck. Jason will have a yield map for me, and I'm gonna look at that a little bit closer here once we wrap up with silage. There was another variety in this field. That's a Enogen 105-day corn. That's one we've used probably 3 years in a row now. One that's done really good on our farm. Don't really have time here today, but the next field, or last field that we're going to be chopping for silage, is that Enogen corn. So I do want to look at that, show you guys that corn here, and I'll talk a little bit more about the Enogen corn at that time. We've used Enogen on our farm for probably 6 or 7 years now at least. Always yielded very good, and had good digestibility and starch numbers for us. But the BMR corn, trying to find a good one where we can put in a certain amount of acres to potentially feed to our fresh cows. Just a few acres that we pile separately. Just trying to see if we can get one to perform good on our soils here. We do end up having some dry weeks throughout the summer, so that's not really ideal for BMR, but I'd still like to try it here. I think we had, don't remember the total acres, but I think I had maybe 20 bags of each of these two, just to get a look at them, see how they do, and then we'll decide where we go from here. And I got here just in time, because all we have left of this BMR is from there to about there, and after that there's about 20 acres left on this field, and then we'll be onto the last field, which is about 120-ish acres or so. Then we'll be wrapped up with silage. Just from looking at it here a couple times in the field without looking at yield data or sample data, so I did pull samples from each variety individually. We'll send those off. I'll give those to our nutritionist when he comes here next week, and he'll send them off, and we'll have them tested, looking at digestibility numbers and starch numbers mainly. And it's gonna have to perform pretty good for me to consider that over the Enogen varieties we've used. Typically our Enogen varieties, they're testing in the low to mid 60s and digestibility, NDF D30, and starch they usually perform pretty good also. So for us to really consider a BMR more serious, or take a closer look at those BMRs, or put a use them in a larger scale, they really have to perform quite a bit better, because the trade-off, the risk of having a poor yielding crop is not really one I want to take. We have tried BMR in the past, probably it's been maybe 6-7 years ago. First year we tried it, we had really good luck with it. Actually yielded pretty much head to head the same as our other varieties we were using at that time. But then the next year, the following year, we had a kind of a dry summer, and it just did not handle the dryness at all. It was very poor actually in some areas of the field. The stalks were kinked over, no cobs on them, so it was not something that I want to see in the future again. So I'll be pretty careful before we plant any more BMR on a larger scale. Just yeah, doesn't the added digestibility just doesn't make up for the risk of not having a crop, because the cows need feed. Obviously we want to have the highest quality feed available, but it doesn't make sense if it's highly digestible and you get only half the yield, or no yield if you have a failed crop, if it's extremely dry. But I'll show you guys that engine here tomorrow when we're into that field, and talk a little bit more about the engine, why we've been using that for such a long time, and what the difference is between the engine corn and the BMR corn. It's 2 days later here. We finished the field of silage that we were just in. Now we're in the last field of silage here. I got Ian and Eli with me. Daycare closed early today, and Taryn had a meeting at 5, so they're with me here for the rest of the afternoon. I had wanted to make silage out of this entire field here, but as you can see, we're not quite done. It was a 120 acre field, and we have maybe 30 or so acres left. As you can see by the colors of the leaves, I mean, they still have some green to them, but they're starting to die off from that frost that we had here. Well, it's four days ago now. I'm actually surprised how green this corn still is, actually. But this is a 105-day engine variety. Talked a little bit about it here in the other field. Planted this variety for quite a few years now. I had pulled some of these back, but Ian tipped them over. These pretty good sized cobs on this here. What the biggest difference of the engine corn is, there's an enzyme. It's bred for a specific enzyme that converts energy into, or starch into, sugars more quickly than other types of corn. And what we've found, or what we've done on our farm, is we did a head-to-head trial actually the first year that we used engine corn on our farm. We piled it separately, and we fed it up against it would have been a split planted BMR on one side of the planter, conventional corn silage on the other side of the planter. So we fed that mix head to head with engine that we chopped, and milk production, butterfat, protein, all of that stayed consistent between the two, but we had a little bit of a yield bump from the engine, and it's able to handle stressed situations better than the BMR corn can. You want some water? Okay, let me get that for you. I'm not sure how much of that enzyme is really affecting the digestibility of or the availability of the starch, but what we have found on our farm is that this engine really performs good for us in the field. The varieties that we've planted work good for us. I always try to take separate samples from each variety, look at their starch content, digestibility, and then we'll make decisions that way for next year. And it's always shows up as one of the better digestible corn silages that we grow on our farm, and we see good starch numbers, and it performs good on our soils in our area here, the varieties that we've used. So this year we had a 92 day, a 95 day, and this 105 here that we're that we're standing by here now. As you can see, it's looks pretty good here, even though the leaves are starting to discolor. We've got pretty tall corn here and good sized cobs. You want to go back to the farm? Oh, what do you have?
I know.
So that's why we've continued to use this N-engine corn, just as we're good for us in agronomically, as far as being able to put it corn on corn. They've got good traits and yields well for us, and the tests show that it's a good corn silage. So we're typically looking at digestible nutrients. NDF D30 is typically what we're looking at, and this is consistently in the low 60s, low to mid 60s. BMR, you'd be probably mid 60s to maybe in the low 70s if it performs really good, which we'd obviously prefer to have more digestible nutrients, but with BMR you really give up yield, and it's can handle corn on corn as well, can't handle drought stress as well. So there's a trade-off there, but wanted to show you guys this here. I'm not going to chop this for silage anymore, but at least we can take a look at the corn here. So we finished silage yesterday. We ran out of room on the pile. That's why we're not finishing this field here where we wanted to pile all the silage. So we're going to take what's left here for earlage. They did start on earlage yesterday, but just been having really bad luck with the choppers. So a piece of metal went through the chopper and wrecked it to the point where they had to bring him another machine, and he's actually got two loaner machines running, one at our farm and then one at another farm. So he's not having very good luck with this choppers this year, but at least the weather is good. They got that machine here this morning. They're going on earlage right now. Been going good here so far, so knock on wood, hopefully that continues. Got a little bit of earlage left right at the farm. Then we're going to take this field off after that, and then we've got two fields of our neighbors to do after that. So probably have some earlage shots here at the end of this video, kind of show you some of that, and then probably be wrapped up with silage, or at least what I'm going to show you guys anyways. But probably won't be today, but maybe tomorrow if I get a chance. We'll get some filming of the earlage and show you guys what that looks like in the field. Opa asked me if we could hook up the disc to the tractor. You guys want to go do that?
No.
No? You want to stay here and break off corn plants?
Yeah.
Eli, do you want to go help Opa?
No.
No, you don't either? You do want to help Opa? Okay, Eli's going to the truck. Ian, are you coming?
Yeah.
It's a couple days later here. I'm in actually the last field that we have to harvest. So they were able to get the other field of earlage finished. I didn't get a chance to go over there and film any of that. Now I'm in the last field of earlage here. I want to kind of show you guys this here. I'm not sure I'm going to get a chance to come back over here. They should maybe get this done end of tomorrow, probably the following day. But this field is the furthest field away from the farm that we have to harvest here this fall. We're about 3 or 4 miles west of the farm. Just wanted to show you guys, I guess, what earlage is first of all, and why we're harvesting earlage. So you can see the majority of the plants are still here. So essentially how it works is they put a combine header that they would use, that farmers would use to combine corn on the chopper, and it's essentially just pulling the cobs off the stalks, running that through the chopper, and then we pile that just the same as we pile silage. Pretty similar anyways. So we're essentially taking so essentially what's going in the pile is the cob, the inside, you know, the kernels, the inside of the cob, some of the husk, and sometimes we will get some of the leaves, but with this corn getting frost on it, I don't think we'll probably get much of the leaves. We'll still get some, but not as much as we would if we wouldn't have gotten a frost. And I wanted to come out here and look at the corn because Jason thought the corn was on the dry side. Sometimes the outside rounds are a little drier. did walk into the field here a little bit ago. The inside is there's still some moisture in the kernels. We'll have to throw a sample on here to see what the dry matter is. Well, I was hoping to fly the drone so you guys could actually see them harvesting the earlage. They just started opening up this field here, so I was gonna see where they were at and hopefully catch them when they come back around here. But earlage, essentially what we're doing is we would feed this instead of feeding dry ground corn or high moisture corn. Pretty similar to high moisture corn, but we're getting the whole cob in there, so we've got a little more fiber. We like making earlage versus dry corn or high moisture corn because we can, it's essentially a one-step process. They come in with a chopper, and the chopper's picking the cobs off and also grinding the kernels, essentially, where with high moisture corn you have to combine it, then run it through a grinder. And the same with dry corn, you have to combine it, grind it, and with dry corn you have to have it essentially a powder. With high moisture corn, it needs to be close to a powder, but you have a little more forgiveness with the moisture in there. And with earlage, the pieces can be a little bigger, but I've mentioned this before in the past, we need to get the dry matter right, because if we're too dry on this, we'll get some of that starch going out the back of the cow, and we don't need to see it in the manure, that's for sure, because then we're paying for it and then we're just land applying it again. So that's the biggest thing with earlage is you just have to get it at the right time. For us, it seems like if we're around 55% dry matter, that's right where we want to be. So far, we've had pretty good luck actually with all the fields. We've been from 52 up to we've bumped some 60s on some samples, but field averages have been right in that 55-56% dry matter. This field here, I was concerned about, even before we started on this, I was concerned about this field getting too dry because we are so far behind with rain, and we've terrible luck with breakdowns here the last week. It's just been almost ridiculous. So I'm glad that we're still dealing with it, but at least I'm glad we're not dealing with the machines themselves specifically, because it seems like it's been one thing after the other here the last 10 days or so. But good to be on the last field here anyways. Hopefully we're not too dry yet. If we are past, if we're 60, 61, 62, I think we can do it. Then I just need to make sure to have Jason tighten his kernel processor down as tight as possible to pulverize those kernels as much as possible. But if we're getting 65 or drier, then we're gonna have to come up with a plan B. Either try to make high moisture corn or see if we just combine it instead of making earlage. We're good on feed inventory, so I'm not too concerned if we have to go that route. Just a matter of figuring out what we're gonna do here if it is too dry. But no sense in getting too worked up about that right now. First we need to see where we're at here before we start looking into that. But I just saw a tractor go by there at the end of the field, so I'm gonna see if I can find where they're at and maybe get a quick shot with the drone, so you guys can kind of see how it works. Essentially, the way the head works, it pulls that cob, or it pulls that stalk straight down, and then there's little plates that the stalk fits through, but the cob doesn't because it's wider than the stalk. That kind of gets pushed back into the header where there's an auger that augers it into the chopper, essentially into the middle and then into the chopper, and then it goes through the chopper's processor. But I think we'll try to get some of that drone footage, and then I think I'll end this video here. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have questions, comments, post them down below, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. We did have our custom manure applicating crew start dropping off some equipment. They're planning to start tomorrow by the sounds of it, so they'll start laying out hose here tomorrow. We're going to our furthest fields first, which are south of the farm. So I'm sure you'll see some of that here in the next video or two. But anyways, thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.